Hello everyone, my name is Javier Vigil Chavez and this is my reflection video. This semester, I was part of the Solar Spell initiative to help children in developing nations receive the education that they deserve. Throughout the course of the semester, I was able to contribute as a part of the Solar Pi team. Initially, our goal was to create a sleek design for the device and shape the company in a way that they could meet the high demand in their device and be prepared for any future endeavors. However, after a reformation occurred over halfway through the semester, we focused our efforts on creating a 3D model for the device, building a supplier network, restructuring certain parts of the business, giving the logo a new look, and performing a number of tech upgrades for the organization. When it comes to my contribution to the organization, I focused most of my efforts towards technologically advancing the initiative. For example, one of the upgrades which I helped to create was the addition of a pre-order page for the current website. After discussing the matter with the sponsors, I was able to conclude that they were looking for three things out of this site. First off, they wanted to use the site as a means of data collection on the user and be able to transfer said data onto other parties. Second, they wanted to engage the user in a manner that they will become loyal to the company. Finally, they wanted to be able to provide the user with quick feedback. Another contribution which I made to the organization was a proposal to integrate solar tracking onto the device. This idea was originally very primitive and simply came up in one of my conversations with the sponsors. However, after discussing the idea more and more, the sponsors and I believed that we could design the system to be a realistic and valuable feature of the device. It was clear that we were going to need certain technologies such as machine learning in order to properly integrate this. After doing lots of research on the financial and power constraints of integrating this, I deduced that we could expect about a $30 price increase on each device in order to implement this. One other contribution which I made was the possibility to use an outernet provider to remotely update devices in the field with the most updated libraries. This could be accomplished through the use of a simple client-to-server relationship between the devices and a server with the update. After reaching out to an outernet provider claiming to be a cost-efficient alternative to a prior attempt by the organization, I believe that this could be a much more sustainable solution to the update dilemma than what we're currently doing. Unfortunately, due to the time constraints of the class, I'll have to do more exploration and analysis of this over the summer in order to be able to make a recommendation on whether to implement this or not. Switching over from some of the contributions which I made to the organization throughout this class, there were also a lot of learning points throughout this class. For example, at the start of the class, while I didn't know what a business plan was, I wasn't too sure about what went into one. I didn't know what a SWOT analysis was, I didn't know what a business model canvas was, and I had no idea on how to construct an LLC or nonprofit company. However, thanks to some of my classmates, I was able to understand a lot of these concepts by the end of the class. Another thing which I learned was how big the value proposition is when constructing an organization. Throughout the course of this class, I was able to understand how companies generate value, deal with competition, and gain a sustainable competitive advantage. Additionally, even though I am a STEM major, I learned a lot about tech throughout this course. And more importantly, I learned a lot about how to be better at my own discipline throughout this course. For example, one of the technologies which was implemented during this course was machine learning. I didn't realize how big something like an emerging technology could translate to a business. I just knew how to code it. However, thanks to this class, I was able to understand how this technology translates towards generating business value. Moreover, on how I personally benefited from this class, and how I was able to better myself in my discipline, I understood that I really wanted to become an entrepreneur. I always knew that I wanted to start a business, but I really didn't know how. Thanks to this class, I understood how important it is to know how to create and add value to a business, whether it be a startup or whether it be a pre-existing business. Again, I always knew I wanted to start a business, but I really didn't know how or what to focus on. I knew that finances was a really big thing. Is that what I should focus on? I really know that I need some funding to start this. However, I know that I want to start a tech business. Should I focus on the technology instead and worry about the finances later? But then what about marketing? I've heard that word a lot. Should I really focus on this from the start? What do I do? And thanks to this class, I was able to answer a lot of those questions as I was able to step in the shoes of an entrepreneur. While I personally didn't own the business, I was able to understand a lot of the obstacles that they face and how to troubleshoot them to become successful. One final thing which I learned from this class was that when you try and create a business, you got to start with the problem and then solve it. I realized that starting with the problem will help the product sell itself, whereas if you try and do the contrary, it'll make the sale harder. Thank you all for having me in this class, and good luck with your future endeavors.